Welcome to a Rune Factory 5 video, and today we'll be going over what are the best seeds to plant to grow with the purpose of selling. So for those who just want the information up front, when comparing level 1 seeds and ignoring golden fruit and veg, because if you by the time you get there you probably should have seeds above level 1, but if you're just comparing level 1, it is onion, bok choy, cabbage, hot, and leek in that order. They're the best for how much profit you make from them. Leek is probably the first one you'll be getting, and it is very good to sell. It continues to be in the top up until level 10, so it is definitely worth selling in the very beginning. And if you want to compare the level 10 seeds to each other, it also should be noted that I haven't fully finished the stats, like testing all of the stats for stuff. Like I just got the golden seeds, so I'll be updating that soon. But for now, we have them at level 1 to compare to the level 10s, and you can see that even comparing a level 1 golden cabbage to a level 10 onion, it's comparable. So for the level 10s, our bests are bok choy, cabbage, onion, leek, hots, pineapples are doing pretty good. These are all very good things to be growing to sell once they're maxed out, and you can only imagine what the golden ones are going to be like if they can like stand up to the rest at level 1. But with the impatient people out of the way, the rest of the video I'm going to be going into how you can use the spreadsheet that I have made. Then I will discuss like the nitty-gritty kind of details about the seeds themselves, and then at the end I have like 6 tips and tricks to share related to gardening, since I have clearly been doing a lot of that. So this is the spreadsheet that I have made. The order everything is in is kind of the order you find it in shops. Again, I just got the golden seeds, so I'm not entirely sure where they go in the relation to shops and stuff, so they may be moved around, especially by the time this video goes out. But this is the sheet, and then I have made it so you can use a drop down to pick a number 1 through 10, and choosing that should update the value and update this daily sale profit. So as you level up your seeds, you can start like comparing them to each other. You can use file and then save as to have your own version that you can like really mess with, but you won't get any of the changes I make in the stats back here, which is where all of the testing and stuff is going on in the background. Like you won't get, when I update this won't update if you've saved it, but I'm hoping that this drop down you'll be able to use even if this sheet is like protected, so you don't have to save your own copy. We'll test that and double make sure beforehand, but I think that's how this will work. So this is obviously the level 1s, and then this is the level 10s, except for these guys. So if I put this up to 10, it would be very confused. So let's just put this guy back to 1. It's just for a quick reference, and then you can obviously adjust this here. Back here are the individual levels, so level 1 through 10 and all of the seeds. And the purple, the bolded purple, is everything that I have verified, like I've grown a seed at that level and double checked it. There's been a couple of times where, because I didn't start out with this intention, that I missed some of the early stuff, or just weird leveling stuff happened, so there are some missing stats, but most of them I'm quite sure about how the leveling up affects the price change. So to go into what I think is happening on how things evolve is the equation would be something like base price plus some increment that they have chosen times level -1, sort of. But the easy way of thinking that is in the sheet, it's basically what is the previous level plus this increment. So as you can see, if we do a comparison, this minus this guy, they should all be the same. Except for at level 10, the equation becomes times 2 of the increment. So this one will be in addition to 6. You can see here, this guy minus this guy should, yep. So they, some of them, they changed because, as you can see, this one alternates between 6 and 7. And so I spent a long time trying to figure out, are they, like, do they have a code, like, if even, do this, if odd, do this? But I didn't think they would code something specifically for a couple of seeds. So after a lot of pondering, I'm pretty sure what they're doing is they have a 0.5. So I think the difference here is 6.5, and then they like truncate or like round down what they display, but they still track where the 0.5 is being added. Something along those lines. So fine. Some of the seeds, they get a 0.5. So you have that with the spinach, the strawberry, I think the toy herb, and the moondrop. So fine, cool. You can have full numbers, you can have 0.5. But then, cucumber exists. Which, if we do our little test here, what is that? 1 6, 4 7s, a 6, 2 7s, 14. Why? So I'm still not 100% sure on this one, but I'm like 75% sure. It's 6.5 is the number they're using to get this weird pattern. Why they couldn't have done just 6.5 or 7, I don't know. They just had to make my life difficult. So that's what these markings down below mean. The star is ones that just follow the pattern. The lovely ones. The ones with the Y in the star, they're the ones that are just a 0.5. Obviously, cucumber had me questioning life. So all of that information, all of that sheet, these stats here, are translated into this value per right here. So depending on the level, you change how much you sell a single fruit or whatever that you've grown. This is the cost to purchase your seeds. This is the number of days it takes those seeds to grow to harvest. And this is how many products you'll get from one seed that you've planted. And I've taken that all into consideration to calculate the daily sale profit, which is basically the number of things that you grow times how much each of them sell for. You take out the cost and then you divide it by the number of days, so that evens out the playing field. It helps kind of calculate like, oh, this thing sells for a lot, but it also takes a lot of days. It kind of takes all of that information into consideration for this daily sale profit that we have right here. And so that's what I'm using to kind of compare them all. Some things are certainly not worth selling. So like the green peppers are not great. Tomatoes are really bad. I know you get some seeds by default at the start, I think, for tomatoes, and those should be fine, but like if you have to purchase those tomatoes, they're not great. Obviously, eventually, if you can keep the plant alive, that value will get better and better because you can just keep growing it, but pink melons, probably the worst to grow to sell. Just don't. Only sell those for the purposes of like crafting and gifting. None of the flowers and grasses and such seem to be all that great. And they get even worse into the level 10s. Tomato does get better. It gets out of the negative. So does pink melon, but turnips, potatoes, those kinds of things, they kind of fall off of being useful the higher level. Fodder, kind of a unique case, because from what I can tell, it does not, depending on the level, doesn't change the price. I think it's just always 60. So I don't know why you'd be selling that anyway. It has its own purpose. So that should be everything I can think of to talk about for the spreadsheet, how I'm calculating stuff. Obviously I got to rant a little bit about how the equation is for them leveling up. So I will be going into some of the tips and stuff that I have figured out while playing the game. Alright, on to the tricks and tips and that kind of information. First off, do yourself a favor. Turn this off. So if you go into settings, system, and then down to farm camera, turn that off. It means that it won't just like move your camera as you're running around. If you get too close to this, I found it nauseating. So if you have that problem, turn that off. The next thing is if you're trying to level up seeds, and if you run into this, it'll probably be at level 4, and no matter how many times you're harvesting it with your sickle, it is still being a level 4. Make sure to upgrade your sickle. They each have like a cap on how far they can evolve a seed. So to get to where you can evolve to level 10, you'll need to get up to a legendary sickle. So that is something to keep in mind. My next trick is down here by the headquarters. You will receive one of these fertilizer bins, or it might be over there by default, but put it over here. You could put it anywhere. And you only need one for every farm dragon, every plot. You just need the one. I have multiple for convenience. But put it over here by this rope because all of these grow in this area and you can just real quick run around and grab these couple of things. And it helps keep your fertilizer bin nice and stocked up without much effort, not having to run around the farm and everything. This helps how fast your crops, your plots regain their health, and we'll discuss that in a little bit. But that's what this is for, but I recommend putting it over here just for ease. My next trick has to do with our little friends here who are helping out on the farm. Excuse the unkept nature of this. I only ever try to keep this one corridor clear of stuff because I cannot be bothered to harvest it all the time. Sorry. So when you have these guys tending to your fields, they kind of lose health. So if you ever come up to one of your farm dragons and there's like a row that's not being cared for and you can't find one of your creatures, they're probably waiting in the barn and they don't really accept anything. They won't do anything, and it's because they've run out of health, basically. One thing you can do is feed these guys every day. You can do that with like fodder and everything, but what I recommend is once you have the cure, so this guy right here, once you have this, just every day just come by and do this real quick and they'll never run out. And your RP is very easily replenished by getting some milk and then cooking it on the stove. As you can see, hot milk replenishes 2,000 AP and health. So I have not found anything that really compares when all you have to do is keep one of these guys around. If you keep one of these guys around, you'll always have milk. So you can always have hot milk. So you can always have RP. Obviously, you can also go to the hot springs, but I find him very hard to catch sometimes. My next trick is or tip, I guess, would be to keep an eye on the health. So on the side there, you basically have two sets of stats. The upper two is the stat of the individual plant. All the rest of the stats are for this set of 4. So you can see these 4 plants will have, their top 2 will change, but the bottom half of it does not, because these 4 share health. If your dirt's or soil's health hits 0, your plant will come up. So if you have things like cucumber that can continue to grow after harvest, if that health is 0, it'll come up. It'll just die, basically. So if it does hit 0 or it's getting close, what you need to do is take a bit of dry grass, clover, or corn to heal it. And how you do that is take some of the dry grass. I usually use other here, and you place it. Don't eat it, because I always eat it the first time I try this. They don't like that. And then you take this and bloop. And so now you can see the health is 114 opposed to the 64. And you can also do a full stack. Let's see, let's go over here. We've got 64, place, don't eat. I have to tell myself every time. Hit the withered grass. So now it's at 255 opposed to the single one that we put here. And then corn does a bit better than the leaf, and then clover I think does the best for how much health it restores. This also restores the plant health, which you can see in the upper area, the HP. So if that gets low, it seems to wither, and it probably will die if that's not kept up too. So keep an eye on that. That's usually what causes your plants to die in things like snowstorms and that kind of stuff. It is things losing their health. So keep an eye on that. And then my last little bit, well, actually I have 2 more. So as you can see, that little corner thing comes up, but to see that you need a magnifying glass. Head into the general goods store, and here you'll be able to purchase your magnifying glass. Like right here. Thank you. So if you take out a magnifying glass, here you go. You can see all the stats of your soil. But it is kind of annoying to have just this tool. So what you can do is go over to your forge and upgrade a weapon. So what you could do would be take the watering can and then put the magnifying glass and upgrade it. So every time you were holding your watering can, you would also see the stats. However, that is also a little inconvenient if you have... I found there were a couple tools I wanted to be able to see the stats with. So what you can do then, instead of adding it onto a tool, you can come to your crafting table and go down to upgrade armor, and then you can put it on your armor. I have mine on my headband right now, so I have the black ribbon right here. So what that means is instead of having to have a specific thing out, so a certain tool or anything like that, I need anything in my hand. So I can even look at the stats with my sword. I haven't upgraded my sword with anything. It's just because of the head ribbon I have on that I can use the sword, any of my farming tools, anything, and I'll continue to be able to see those stats. So definitely recommend that. And for my final trick that I accidentally discovered a couple of days ago. So if you are on a farming dragon, you don't want to return home to replace stuff, there's 2 ways you can kind of access your storages back in your house, basically. The first would be to toss something in the shipping bin, go over to wherever you want, and then throw it back in. Or the reverse, put it in a shipping bin, put it into your inventory. It works. I've been doing that for a very long time. However, if you get yourself a bookshelf and scroll over it, and then scroll up over one more time, now it's basically like you're accessing your inventory in your house. Your bag is now on the side and the other thing is here. So you could just swap things from your bag to your storage chest, from your fridge to your bag, like any of that. The only problem is you have to back out again if you want to then get into the shipping bin. And this trick doesn't happen if you were just to scroll through any of these guys. The shipping bin will always be on the right, and your bag or the inventory you're accessing is on the left. But if you tab over the bookshelf once, it's now your bag on the side. So you can just swap stuff. There's a potential this is a bug and it might go away someday, but then you just resort back to throwing something into the storage or the shipping bin, switching inventories, and then throwing it again. So it takes 2 more steps, but there is a way where you can just use this to pretty much access your inventory anywhere that you have a shipping bin. The bookshelf is also useful because it's where you can store like your rune abilities in case you don't want to sell all of those, and you need space. The bookshelf is where you store those. I had to look that up because I couldn't figure it out myself. So that should be it for this video. I've gone over the spreadsheet. I've said the things that are the best to grow, which is leak from the start of the game, and then there are other ones late game that work even better. The spreadsheet will be linked down below. I'll probably put it in the description and maybe even in the comments. We also went over some tricks. I think I said 7 or 6 at the start, but I think it's 7. Oh, well. I hope you guys have found this video useful. If you guys have any other tricks or tips or questions, leave those in the comments down below. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.